welcome to your Friday One show, live on BBC Two and on the iPlayer with Ronan Keating.
And Alex Jones. On tonight's show, Stephen Fry and Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling discuss some fantastic beasts.
We are celebrating the 6th and final series of the critically acclaimed show Peaky Blinders.
Oh, I can't wait. And we'll be joined by two award-winning actors. One is the star of one of the most talked-about shows on the block, Egerton.
And the other has played Elton John in Rocket Man, Eddie in Eddie the Eagle, and a giant gorilla called Johnny in The Brilliant Sing 2. Yes, we'll be chatting to Jonathan Bailey and Taron Egerton very, very soon.
But first, we're on BBC Two tonight to make room for extended news coverage of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which is happening as we speak. Now, Nick Robinson is there in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, to explain what's going on and bring us up to speed. Let's go live to him now. Nick, thank you for joining us.
Yes, evening, Nick. So first of all, can you tell us what's happening there on the streets of Kiev right now?
Well, the truth is, Alex, Ronan, nothing is happening on the streets of Kiev. I arrived in this big, bustling, European, lively city just 4 nights ago. People on the streets, people having parties, people in the bars and the clubs and having fun. Tonight, almost no one is out, almost no one is driving, almost no one is above ground. People are living underground in shelters under their homes, under public buildings, even heading to the subway, the equivalent of our underground, in the way, frankly, they did in World War II. And the reason they're doing that, and we may hear one while we're talking, is in the background every so often, just in the few minutes I've been up here, a thump out that sound, a bang out that way. These are not thumps and bangs. These are major explosions happening in the capital city of a country which is a little less than 3 hours flight away from London.
It's frightening. Now, there's so many stories going around. Can you break down why this is happening? How did we get to this point, Nick?
I think we got here because Vladimir Putin thinks that something that happened in our lifetimes, something that if your age, my age, almost everybody believed was a great thing, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of the division of Europe between communists on one side and the free world on the other. He believes that was a disaster. He has said that the fall of the Soviet Union, the great empire that Russia was in charge of, for all my childhood, he believes was one of the worst things to ever happen. And in many ways, it looks as though he wants to restore the Soviet Union. In other words, for Russia, not just to be Russia, but to actually control all of its neighbours, all of the countries around it, if not necessarily by occupying them with troops, by intimidating them, so that they have governments that do what Russia wants. Now, Putin would say, look, I'm just trying to demilitarise a country that threatens us. He would say, and he has said, something that is frankly completely absurd and without any justification. He says that this country is run by Nazis. Well, look, believe you me, my grandparents fled the Nazis. They were German Jews. They fled for their lives from Berlin. This country isn't run by Nazis. Vladimir Putin isn't denazifying anything. What he's trying to do is subjugate a people and tell them how to live their lives.
Oh, Nick, it's such a heartbreaking, horrific time for everybody in Ukraine right now. And I suppose the fear is, what will be the wider implications as well for people watching tonight, you know, because of this?
Yeah, I'm sure there are people watching the One Show, there are people who watch the news during the day who are moved by the terrible stories that they've seen. I've looked into the eyes of families who despair for their children, of women who wonder what they will do next, what will happen to their futures, of people rolling suitcases down the streets, queuing up to get onto trains, queuing up to get into subways. But you might be moved and still, Alex, think, what's this got to do with us? With people living in the UK? And I think the answer is a simple one. Whether you like or loathe people who run countries around the world, they have up until now pretty much played by an agreed set of international rules. If any country can think, look, I don't like the guys who live next to me, I will simply occupy their country, I will bomb their country, I will remove their government, I will insist on them doing things that I like and their people don't, the danger is that that sends a message right around the planet to other dictators, to other people saying, well, if he can get away with it, why don't we? So I don't think we're on the eve of World War III, as some have said. I don't think British young men and women are going to be conscripted to fight in this battle, but I think it affects us all.
Now, we've heard of a lot of videos and messages going around on social media and group chats that seem to be fake. What should people look out for? How can we get the correct information?
Well, I think the first thing you have to remember is that in a war, long before even social media existed, both sides in a war want to pump out propaganda. They're fighting for their lives, and therefore they want you to believe the things that suit them. So the sensible thing to do when you look at any message is always think, who's saying this? Why are they saying it? What's in it for them? Could there be another truth? But if you don't want to go through all that complexity, you know what to do. You know to look for people you can trust. Now, look, I'm bound to say that's the BBC. Alex Ronan, you'd say it was the BBC. There are lots of other great people out there. There's ITV News, there's Sky News, there's Channel 4 News, there are international suppliers, there are great newspapers as well. There are charities and pressure groups that do it. But if you're getting something just from a mate who says, I've heard that somebody says that they've seen, just ask yourself, can you really be sure that's true?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. Well, you can keep up to date with the events as they unfold. There will be live updates on the BBC News website and on the BBC News channel. Our best wishes go out to anybody who's got family and friends in Ukraine at this very worrying time. And stay safe, Nick, as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, on Sunday, a brand new series called Fantastic Beasts and Natural History starts on BBC One. In it, Stephen Fry discovers how animals in the real world have inspired mythological creatures.
Well, here he is to explain more, and he chats to Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling about the fantastic beasts in her books. Enjoy.
Magical creatures have fascinated us ever since we first walked the earth. Whether created entirely from the imagination or inspired by the animals around us, many of the most popular books and movies of our time are based on myths, legends, and fantasy worlds. Magical creatures can be found on the wing, soaring across the skies. Chris, hello.
Hi.
What's the name of this extraordinary?
This is Nikita, and she's a Stella's sea eagle.
So beautiful. As you can see, Nikita is no myth. She's all reality. Stella sea eagles, they're amongst the largest eagles in the world, and they're formidable predators. In New Zealand, Maori mythology tells of a monstrous eagle known as the Pouakai that was said to eat humans. These stories may have been based on a real bird known as Haast's eagle, the largest eagle ever to have lived on the planet, with a wingspan of up to 3 meters. Perhaps it's the very mysteriousness of flight itself that has inspired these stories of legendary flying creatures over the centuries. Goodness. There's one mythical creature whose popularity seems to be even greater today than it's ever been. The unicorn.
The unicorn became the symbol of Scotland because at the time when it was chosen, people did think it was real. In the 15th century, lots of kings were adopting animals as their personal symbols. It is untamable, it is undefeatable. How cool is that for a national symbol?
Yes.
In the Middle Ages, the evidence used to prove that unicorns existed came from another mysterious creature entirely.
A genuine unicorn horn? Or is it, in fact, a narwhal tusk? In fact, it's a replica of a narwhal tusk.
The narwhal is an elusive toothed whale found in Arctic waters. The spectacular tusk, usually only found on male narwhals, is actually an overgrown, spiralized tooth.
I believe I'm right in saying that these did change hands for quite astonishing sums of money.
We know that Queen Elizabeth first paid £10,000, and that's kept in the Tower of London. This was believed to be able to purify water and to guard against poisons.
Right.
I wanted to know more about this instinct to create mythical creatures, so I asked someone who knows a thing or two about telling stories. Author of the Harry Potter books and creator of Fantastic Beasts, J.K. Rowling.
I think about this a lot, the fact that we're storytelling creatures. In terms of myth and folklore, it's an attempt to explain the natural world, things people didn't understand. I'm even more fascinated by the fact that discrete cultures who'd never met create such similar creatures. So we see the firebird, the phoenix, throughout different cultures.
Yes.
And what is that telling us about what it is to be human and what lives at the back of our minds in our subconscious? And that shows that we have a deep need, I think, to be connected to the animal world.
Fantastic beasts have been with us since the dawn of time. They are a fundamental part of our own history.
And whether in the real world or the realms of fantasy, there is so much that remains a mystery to us.
Well, you can see more of Stephen in Fantastic Beasts and Natural History on BBC One at 7 o'clock. And if Stephen Fry and J.K. Rowling weren't enough for you, well, we've got 2 more guests up our sleeves. Let's say hello to Hollywood star by way of Llanfair Pwllgwyn Gellwydre Bellwyn Dysilio Go Go Goch in Wales.
Amazing.
What?
Hey. Amazing.
What was that? And Bridgerton star by way of Henley. I got the easy one, I think. It's Taron, Egerton and Jonathan Bailey. Hey, guys. Great to see you, lads.
Lovely to see you. Croeso mawr.
Oh, diolch yn fawr. Lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you both. Very nice.
Lovely. Taron, Stephen and JK are helping you get to sleep at night, is that right?
I'm revisiting all the Harry Potter books by way of Stephen Fry reading the audio books.
Oh.
Right.
And I'm finding it's a really lovely way to unwind at night with phoenixes and horcruxes and all that type of thing.
Might there be a reason? Is this research?
What to... oh, really? Yes, I am intending to become a wizard.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Very nicely
If I can
navigated.
grow a beard in time, and at this rate, it'll take, 50 years, something like that.
Very good, very good. So you're both here to talk about a play that you're in. You've fresh from rehearsals. But first of all, we've got to talk a bit about Bridgerton.
Yes.
Now then, my goodness, that was popular, wasn't it? People loved it. And you are stepping in to the shoes of kind of the main lead man. Now, people loved a bit of reggae. They did love it.
A bit of reggae.
So quite big shoes to fill. But you must be excited, though.
I am excited, yeah. I think Bridgerton's very different to many TV series in that every series is going to follow a different Bridgerton sibling. So it was always that reggae was going to move on. But yeah, so it's now the eldest Anthony's love story. And there's 2 amazing actresses coming in. So the Bridgerton world is just going to expand, and it's just as brilliant as it was before. I think it's going to be good.
Great.
OK. Now, at the end of Series 1, no spoilers here, we found out who Lady Whistledown was. So can you, reveal what the plot is for Season 2?
Well, Lady Whistledown is still up to her old tricks, or Nicola Coughlan. But it's Anthony Bridgerton decides that he needs to find himself a wife, a viscountess. And it's not going to be an easy journey for him to work out why he treated his younger sister so badly in Series 1. There's a lot of things he has to contend with, but he gets there, and it is a really lovely, complicated, sweeping love story.
Nice. Well, one of the things you contended with personally last series was a bit of makeup on a cheeky bit of your anatomy. So I guess what I'm asking is there more makeup? Is there more nudity? As much nudity this time?
Listen, it's a romance genre, and of course, with the 2 people coming together, there's going to be some interactions. And so, yes, I'm sure there'll be some more.
I actually haven't watched it yet, but I can feel a Netflix binge.
I was going to say, if you're getting
Sounds
in now.
great. I haven't. I did say to Johnny early on that I'm yet to get into it, but I think I'm
Once you get through the Harry Potter books.
That's it. It's going to go Harry Potter.
Just as support for your fellow actors.
Okay,
you
all
need
right
to
then,
know what's
thanks. I'm
going
feeling
on.
terrible
Come
now.
on now, come on.
Taron, you went topless Kingsman and in Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Body makeup in that?
No, I mean, they're very different body types, aren't they? I tend to hover more around the Rocket Man end of the market.
OK.
But I've done it a couple of times. But this man's in fantastic shape all year round.
Yeah.
Gosh, you have to be for that. Hey, do you know what we love? We love sing and sing too.
I love sing and sing
Absolutely.
too.
So
I'm
you're
so glad
Johnny
to
the
be in
Gorilla, loads of children watching tonight will think,
Are there?
wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I am. Oh, there I am, look.
So there were rumours that it would be up for an Oscar, but then it was snubbed. I mean, what do we feel about this?
I mean, I think it's an outrage. It's an outrage, it's a travesty. I didn't even know it was up. They were campaigning for an Oscar. I mean, it's a lovely, lovely thing. I auditioned for the first film when I was 25, not knowing anything about it. And you know, before I knew what was going on, I was in a movie with all these massive stars, and then it became a hit, and it's just been... I mean, so much of what I've done in my relatively short career have been quite grown up and not appropriate for a family audience. So to have something like that it's a real thrill, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, you should be. It's
Rightly
brilliant.
so. People of all ages love it as well. What do you think the charm is with a film like Sing?
I think it's that, you know, it appeals to kids because it's singing animals, but it's got a certain quality of naughtiness and wit to it that I think parents can appreciate as well. Yeah, and it's just such great music, isn't it? They pick the best tunes for us to do. Yeah.
Best tunes. And you also, bit of a triple threat over there. Because, I mean, you were in company, weren't you, in the musical?
I was in company in the musical, yeah. With the same director who's directing us now in our play. You've done musicals.
I did, yeah,
once.
I mean, he's a singing sensation.
Yeah,
thanks very much. You were the one who came.
Yeah, exactly. I was screaming at that.
Oh, good on you. Thank you so much. All right, lads. OK, there's so much good telly on this weekend. We've mentioned Stephen Fry's new show. Well, after that, the hugely anticipated final series of Peaky Blinders starts on BBC One. I can't wait.
You're really into it, aren't you? I'm going to start it all from the beginning. Now, the show's premiere took place in the heart of Birmingham last night. Local presenter Trisha Doodoo got the backstage pass, and she's taken us along with her.
The first screening of the 6th and final series of Peaky Blinders here in Birmingham is like a Hollywood premiere. The gritty period drama about gangs in Victorian Birmingham has captivated millions of viewers around the world. And it shone a light on this city's rich history. So, as this landmark series reaches its dramatic climax, I'm keen to find out what impact it's had on the city where it's set and what its legacy is going to be. Tell me, what do you love about Peaky Blinders?
It's action-packed, it's amazing, edge of the street, and I just think it's raised the profile of Birmingham, which is why we're here.
I think it's really important that it touches on mental health issues and female role models.
I can't believe I bumped into a man with a Peaky Blinders haircut.
Can't wait for the new show to start.
And then there are the super fans. You look terrific, guys, really brilliant.
It's like following your favourite football team. This is our strip. We'll always come out peaky and looking dapper, and we love it.
You've got the clobber. What's your favourite line from the series?
This is our city. I order the Peaky Blinders.
Don't mess with them. And the series has had a big impact on tourism, not least here at the Black Country Living Museum, where parts of the drama were filmed.
There's lots of different locations that they've used, but probably the two iconic ones are Charlie's Yard, which is behind me, and then also our bridge, which was the site of where Ada and Freddie used to meet.
I got tickets for the Penny Crush. They're showing a Tom Mix picture.
How important is it for business?
We've had growing visitor numbers since the show has been on, and also it's allowed us to run Peaky Blinder nights, and that's brought us in 30,000 extra visitors. It's just amazing to be part of such a global phenomenon.
This local Barbers has also benefited from the Peaky Blinders effect. Looking good, Curtis, looking good. Dale, how much has Peaky Blinders impacted your business?
Absolutely massive. We get people every week that want a Peaky Blinder haircut.
What do you love about Peaky Blinders?
It puts Birmingham on the map. It's one of the first things on people's lips when they talk about Birmingham.
There are even Peaky tours around the city, led by historian Professor Carl Chin, who has a personal connection to the gangs that inspired the show.
My great-grandfather, Edward Derrick, was a real Peaky Blinder. He's not a man to be admired.
How true is the depiction of the Peaky Blinders?
The series is set in the 1920s in one district, as if there was only one gang. Actually, the Peaky Blinders were rampant in the 1890s and the turn of the 20th century. There was not one gang, there were numerous gangs.
Do you think, on the whole, though, that Peaky Blinders has been good for Birmingham?
It's drawn attention to the city that we would not have had otherwise. People like Cillian Murphy, making the Brummie accent sound sexy. Who would have ever thought that before?
This will be the end of it.
This might be the last we see of Tommy Shelby and co on the small screen, but the show's creator, Stephen Knight, who's planning to open new television studios in Birmingham, says the Peaky Blinders story is only just getting started.
We believe that Birmingham will become the hub and the centre for film and TV production going forward. This is not the end. We're going to do a film, we're going to do other things. The fans really love it, so that's why we want to keep doing it. I'm really proud, really thrilled that Birmingham's story has found resonance around the world.
One last deal to be done. Then we Peaky Blinders rest.
Wow.
The final series of Peaky Blinders starts on Sunday. BBC One, 9 o'clock. It's going to be a really good one. And reviews are already saying it's a heartbreaking tribute to Helen McCrory, who played the fierce matriarch, Aunt Polly. She was brilliant in it. She sadly died last year. Now, you both worked with Helen, didn't you, in your early careers?
Yeah.
What do you remember then about working with her?
So I did my first job with Helen at the National Theatre when I was 22, so about 10 years ago. And she was, you know, it's the same thing that everyone says about her. She was, you know, fiercely talented, awe-inspiringly talented, but kind, fun, funny, warm, and incredibly generous. And I remember sharing scenes with her and just feeling like I was getting better through working with her. She was a really generous actor and a lovely person and a real loss to our industry.
Jonathan, you were also lucky enough to work with Helen. What do you remember?
Well, I worked with Helen when I was really young, when I was 7.
Oh, wow.
And I remember then what I think we all remember now is that her voice in the theatre, if anyone was lucky enough to see her on stage, she was like an animal.
Yeah.
And she always had a naughty twinkle in her eye. And I know a lot of people who were very close to her, and, you know, I think it's a real loss, but, you know, what an amazing woman.
Well, what a lovely tribute as well from both of you.
Yeah.
Now then, you two are on stage together in a play that's kind of a love triangle. What can you tell us, Jonathan, about what the story is and who you both play?
The play, actually, to find out what it's called, you might have to Google the Ambassadors Theatre.
Well, this is it, yes.
But it's a fascinating sort of study of human sexuality, and it follows a character that I play called John, who, when we meet him, is in a relationship with Taron's character, and it's quite a complicated relationship. They go on a break, and in that break, John meets a woman, and it's about how that brings up complications in their understanding of each other and how society sees John if he can't understand who he is and he's very confused. So it's also sort of a riot and hilarious. And Marion Elliott, who we mentioned earlier, is directing it. She's a sort of master of the stage. And it's written by Mike Bartlett, who wrote Dr. Foster. And it's like that on sort of acid.
Have you seen that, Taron, Dr. Foster?
Yeah, of course.
He hasn't, has he? You are hopeless with television, Taron. Come on now.
Jonathan, as you said, it's got a bit of a cheeky title, which we won't be mentioning tonight, but we've got a message in here from Johnny. He says, how did you tell your granny the name of the new play?
Do you know what? Actually, my nana, who I'm sure is watching now, hello, Nana Verna, she listened to a recording of that said play, and she gets approval of everything I do, and she really enjoyed it.
Okay.
She said,
brilliant.
it was provocative and hilarious. So we're good to go.
Now, the thing about this play, Taron, is it's full of very timely themes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. One of the big themes that the play tackles is that of labelling, and it is not really for me as a white cisgender man to start kind of preaching about labelling, but it is a kind of one of the foremost themes of the play, and I think it tackles it in a very, very interesting way, because Johnny's character, John, is kind of at once torn between the love of his former partner, or his long-term partner, who I play, and this woman who he meets. But it's also he's also kind of torn in the sense that he's in a battle for his identity.
Right, yeah.
So that I suppose, when we talk about timely themes, that's specifically what that is. But I think it's also just worth mentioning, and I don't think it's too much to give away about the play, but in the early parts of the play, it explores his relationship with my character, which is sort of a little more stale and tired and has its fair share of problems. And then it explores his relationship with this new character, and it's the sort of flush of first love, lots of fun and lightness. And then what happens is, without giving too much away, my character suggests that they all meet up and have a chat.
Okay.
So in the second part...
I thought you were going to say something else.
It's prime-time television.
Yeah, I see. It's right, yes.
But they get together and kind of, you know, hash it all out.
I see.
Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
Good old conversation.
Hilarious conversation.
Good, okay.
Yeah, and it's very, very, very funny.
They have a cockfight.
Yes, yeah. The play is a kind of play on words. It rhymes with lock or frock or mock.
We get it.
Yes, sorry.
We get it, we get it.
Yes.
People are blushing out there.
All over the country.
Okay, now we talked about singing and acting, but also we know that you love dancing.
No,
and we
don't
have
make us
proof.
dance.
Oh yes, we had a word with your old dance teacher, Anne Morell.
Are you
She
kidding
sent us
me?
this very fetching
Are you
picture.
kidding me?
No, I'm not. Here you
No!
go. Now she says yes.
Wow.
You are joking. This is outrageous.
Well, there you go. She says,
Thanks,
Jonathan,
Admiral.
and I quote.
I can't believe it, look. No one
She
has got a
says,
problem with my knees now.
You weren't a natural dancer.
I weren't.
You weren't, but you were a hard worker.
There we go.
So she sent that photo and said
She
that.
did.
Lovely.
So what's
Outrageous.
going on?
I can't believe
What was going on in that photo?
I don't know. I was obviously... I don't know.
We just
That's the beginning of a long career right there. Blimey. Those are the days, eh?
Is there anything you want to say to her? We know she's watching.
Thank you so much for everything you've done.
But hang on, she did help you to get your first gig, though, right?
That's true, actually. That would have been around the same time that I worked with Helen McCrory, so there we go. But yeah, I think it was through that dance class that someone came and I got scouted. So yeah, it was down to...
There you
There
go.
you are.
Taron, we don't want to leave you out. I mean, you know...
serious?
You got in there early.
You haven't got a photo of me doing the splits, have you?
No. Fresh-faced, artful dodger. 15?
Yes, I was. That was no!
Yeah, look at that.
Hey, look at me. Quite a well-fed Artful Dodger, actually. But yes, I did. That was me at the Aberystwyth Arts Centre at 14, 15.
Yeah.
And that was the second time I was ever on stage.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, we heard your audition for Kingsman didn't go too well. It was a tough one. Well, it went well, but it was a tough one.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Matthew Vaughn, who is a really good friend of mine, and we've now done 5 things together with him producing and me being the lead character. But he did this really... I mean, it's not actually much of an anecdote, to be honest, but he just didn't look at me for the whole time I auditioned, which is really quite off-putting. But then again, he did give me the role and arguably made my career, so, you know, swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
OK. Very good.
Well, we can see you both on stage at the Ambassadors Theatre in London from the 5th of March, and tickets are available now.
Thank you.
Great.
Taron, we've got to ask you, your Eddie the Eagle co-star, Hugh Jackman, has stepped down as Wolverine. Now, there are rumours going around that you might be taking on that role. Can you confirm or deny it? I mean, we got our hands on this picture.
Wow,
also.
yeah, that's about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
No, there's no truth in it at all. There's no truth in it. It's, you know, it would be obviously really exciting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Is that something you'd like to explore, though, a role like that?
Yeah, of course.
It's quite different
it's like playing,
to the other...
You know, it's like playing Bond or something, that, isn't it? It would be exciting to play a role where you play to such a wide audience. Those movies are the most watched movies in the world now. That would be a thrill, and it's a great part. But no truth to it. Very flattering, though.
We'll wait and see. OK.
Time for some quick messages here. Marita asks, Taron, is there anything that you haven't achieved in your career that you are keen to tick off the to-do list?
I'd like to do another musical.
OK.
Yeah, I loved doing the Elton John film. I loved singing and acting through song, and I'd like to do more of that.
Who would you like to play?
When I'm old enough, I'd love to do Sweeney.
OK.
Yeah, maybe in 10 years or something.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We're out of time, boys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We will be back next week, but until then, have the greatest of weekends. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you, boys.
Thanks.
Thank you.